All right, here we go. Terrific. So we've talked in the past about creating an AOE user trainer designation, and hopefully by the February meeting we'll be able to roll something like that out. But if any of you have any interest in working on a designation of that type, please let us know. Just drop us an email, a note, and we'll keep you informed of our progress on that. But let me get started. I think we've got a good group here, and we're running about 4 minutes behind. We want to wrap everything up no later than 1:30, and that will include a Q&A session after Larry is finished with his presentation. But everybody, my name is Bill Brownfield. Larry Meyerhofer's on the line as well, and thank you for joining us today, and thank you very much for using AOE. Escalations aren't easy, so we do 2 training sessions each year for users, one in the fall for pre-bills and one in the spring for reconciliations. And we do record these sessions like we are today. We store it under AOE, under the Getting Started tab. Larry, you might point that out. Top left-hand corner, and under that is the download section. You see there's a webinar tab as well. And you can also see that we have the past 2 training sessions. So if you want to go back and look at those, feel free to do that. Today is October 8th, 2020, and it's budget season again, and we want to help you prepare for the 2021 prepayment process. And we all typically call these pre-bills. As always, our goal, Larry and mine, is to help you create perfect invoices. And so we constantly strive to make AOE better and easier to use. Our most recent new feature is called walkthroughs, and there's a new tab on the row there that Larry's pointing out. And and the walkthroughs are sequential step-by-step lists. So you'll see on the left the prepayment button is clicked, and on the right, reconciliations. They're both very extensive lists, and I just want to talk a little bit about the format associated with that. We do think these lists, these steps, will be especially helpful getting new users familiar with the entry process, and the walkthroughs will also help existing users stay on top of what's been completed. What that means is that you can step away and come back and jump right in where you left off, as long as you keep track of what you've completed. Older users, and I use that term affectionately, may wonder if the walkthroughs will replace the original entry process that you've been using, and the answer is no. It's just supplemental. You can still use the drop-down tabs for expenses and for rent roll, and make those entries as you always have. None of that has changed. The walkthrough tabs are just presenting those entry steps in a more linear format so that no steps get overlooked. So when in doubt, go back to the walkthrough steps. It would be our suggestion. I'm going to make some general comments about the format, and then Larry will take you through each step in the prepayment process. So look at the orange button first. Click to create reset list of steps. This clears the prior year's entries, so you can start with a clean slate. And if you're in the prepayments tab, this will only clear the prepayments list, so you don't need to worry about it affecting the reconciliation steps, and vice versa. Now the headers group steps to complete budgeted prepayment invoices, and so on. They're self-explanatory, but we do want to suggest that you complete the check boxes on the little to the right, Larry, if you don't mind. Yeah, like that. And when you do that, it automatically pre-fills the processed by entry with whoever made the entry. So in this case, it's Larry. Okay. The blue arrows, these are really helpful. These are hyperlinks that connect and take you to each screen that's associated with each step that we've listed, and that way you don't have to search for them. You can just go straight from this screen. The groupings, if you look at the vertical list of categories under the group, at the top, there's just one system setting step, and it helps you start off with the correct year. That's the purpose for that. Larry will get into that in detail. But there are also 3 copy import steps, 2 in a row here and 1 further down. Larry can show you later how easy imports are if you need to know. And the bulk of the entries will be in the next 7 expense-related steps. And then after you're done with those, there are 7 rent roll steps. And at that point, you're completely done with all of your data entry. So all that remains after that is to go to the error checking feature, make sure that everything is listed or input properly. It'll automatically pop up if it's not. And then there are 3 reporting steps. If you care to run the reports and invoices, you can also create cover letters that you can then transfer to into Word or your own letterhead, and so on. So that's it. That's the list for the prepayment walkthrough. There's a similar series of steps for the reconciliation walkthrough, and we'll spend time on that list during our session. And one comment before I hand it off to Larry. These lists are broken down into very discrete steps, and they're done that way to ensure that nothing gets missed. After your first setup, many of these steps really aren't necessary because AOE carries a lot of the information forward. And the big reward that you get for checking each step is knowing that your tenant invoices are correct. And we know that's why you use AOE, and we thank you for caring about that as much as we do. Larry will take over now, and after he's finished going through these sequential steps, we'll have a Q&A. As I mentioned earlier, our goal is to wrap up no later than 1:30, and looks like that's about 50 minutes. I'll keep tabs on the time, and we'll let everybody know. We want to have enough time, 10 or 15 minutes for Q&A. So, Larry, you need to be finished by 1:15 your time.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Bill. And I want to give Bill actually credit for this walkthrough. This is always his idea. He always said that really it's for a new user. I mean, AOE does a lot. And, once you learn it, it's pretty easy. But again, once, the initial setup is a little bit difficult because it's, a lot of stuff to set up. And then, trying to figure out, which screen to go to and where. So this was always Bill's idea. Make it easier for the new users. And I think it's a great idea. I mean, it seems like it's, it makes it more logical. You're not going to miss a step. Again, this looks intimidating at first, but, you're not going to do all these steps. A lot of stuff has already been done. Like here, system settings. If you already closed the year, this is done. You already have a backup building, this is done. So again, some of these you can complete right off the bat. And some things you don't do. If you don't do gross ups, you don't need it. You don't do a percentage just gross ups, you don't need that either. No CapEx, you don't need that. So some of these things can be just checked off as not applicable or done. That sort of speeds up the process. So it looks bad. It looks a lot of work. But again, this is just to keep you guys from missing a key step that you might need. This is like every possible thing you could probably do. And I probably think there's nobody in our client base that would do all these steps. There's probably some that most of them are not every damn every step in here is probably more than you would ever do for one property. So that's my disclaimer. It looks bad, but it's not quite so difficult. But I'll walk through it one by one. We'll go through the whole process. And I'll use this walkthrough as my guide to do the prepayment process. Normally I go through here and start with my expenses and my chart, add my account, and I go to my expenses. I'll do this instead. This actually makes more sense and won't miss anything. So first of all, we got system settings. First here it says verify the budget year is correct. Now if I go to my home screen here, it tells you my current year is 19, my budget year is 20. And I'm trying to work on 20 and 21. And working year could be anything. This could be back, all the way back, data going back to 1997 when we first rolled out this program. So I'm going to go check. I'm going to go back to my walkthrough. I'm going to click on the blue arrow, bring me to my system settings, year and close screen. And my current year is 2019. This is what, the system's set for. I just want to close the year because I want to go to 20. And another way to check this, look at your rent roll. I think somebody's got their feedback on for their computer. You may have to mute.
Yeah, if everybody could
mute your microphone.
Mute, that would be helpful. That's great.
And if you want to talk, unmute yourself, and you can interrupt anytime you need to. I'd rather explain it as I go, and if I go too quick for you, if something doesn't make sense, just don't feel free to interrupt and ask me a question. I'll go to the rent roll first and check on profiles. And you'll see, all right, right now I got 19 profiles. I mean, that's, so 18, closed, I'm in 19. And I go to 20, there's no profiles yet. That means I have not closed 2019, because when I do that, it makes it 20 profiles. So that's a good check too. So I'll leave it here. So I'll go back to my walkthrough. Going to go back to my system settings. I know it's wrong. I close the year. By closing the year, it's going to create new profiles for the new year for 2020 for ones that have not expired. It's going to copy the chart, copy my expense pools, copy my gross ups. So I just click the close year button, hit my OK up here, and it's pretty quick. That's it. Now go back to my rent roll profiles. I should have 20 profiles now. There they are. Now it just made all of them that fast. And because sometimes you can go back to system settings here, you can actually, move the year back and forth. So say you want to go back and somehow recalculate 2016 because of an audit or a tax refund, you can do it right here and change the year back and forth. But so you might be in the wrong year here. But this, the system settings one, the close year tells you that closed it. Now I've got my profiles now for the new year. Because again, I need 20 profiles for the 21 prepayments. A lot of people ask me, where's my 21 profiles? It works off the 21s. You can also add prospects in here by make a prospect tenant, and then you make prospect 1, prospect 2, prospect 3, and you have a 20 profile. But in the profile, you'll see the dates: 12/31/20 start date and 12/31/20 end date. That really means it's a next year profile. It won't calculate for 20, but it will calculate for 21. That's how the system's designed. So let's go through walk through again. So I got the first step done. I can check that off. I'm done. Create a backup building. Let's see. Click on my little. So I can make a backup if I have one. I think I already have one here, so I'm not going to do that again. And it's pretty easy. You pick your building. I'll do it here real quick anyway. New building code. We'll call it TB. Can't type. Web backup. And down here, I can also change the codes. Building up here. I'm going to make a new one down here. So create a backup building. Okay. Oh, so you only get 3. I already made 3 of them. You get 3 backups. Otherwise, the database is getting awful huge. And we give you 3 extra buildings apiece, but not more than that unless you really need them. You have to call me and give you a special dispensation. But right now, I already got it, so I don't need it. So I did make that before. So that's good. So I can go back to here, walkthroughs. It's already been created. That's done now. Oops, back again. I'm going to click on my complete box. All right. So now those 2 steps are completed. My copy import. Now I want to copy my data. It's always a good idea to make a copy before you start doing the new year. So let's make it over here to TB. Make a TB test. So my TB webinar, all I do is I click on here. I drag it over. I'll make a direct copy on my TB backup over here. And once I see the yellow arrow, I let up. It's going to confirm. I'm going to make it from TB webinar, TB backup. It's going to copy everything.
Larry, if I could interrupt,
Yeah.
We're getting an echo from someone that needs to mute, please.
It might be Vicky. Vicky couldn't call in. I told her to use her computer. If your computer audio is on, Vicky, you there?
I'm on the phone, Larry, but I can't log into the meeting.
You can tell you what, we're recording this too. I can put the recording out there over the weekend. But so on your email, you can't download the start meeting or what?
No, it goes to start meeting, but the join meeting just keeps circling. Join online meeting.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I guess you have to work with the. You're pretty good anyway. You're one of our better users, so I think you won't learn a whole lot here, but.
Okay.
We'll have it online. We'll have the whole video online here in the next couple of days. All right, go back to my walkthroughs.
So is that Vicky?
Yes, Vicky from
Vicky, this is Bill. Give me your phone number, and I'll call you and walk you through it. I went through this process as well.
Okay, 770-823-9680.
Great. I'll call you.
All right, now I got my first 3 steps done. Now I go to my expenses. Now, if I had new accounts, I can go in here and put let's say I have 1 new account. So I'll click on this. Invariably, the accounting department adds new accounts every year. I like to use the master edit mode button. You can look at here this way and open these up one by one. Here's a test account I don't need anymore because that was one I added probably last time. I'm going to delete that. All right, let's go back into my master edit mode. We'll add a new account. Let's make a new, I don't know, we'll call it landscaping irrigation. How's that? So new account. I click my new button up here. I make it account number 1104-100. It's going to go under my R&M. It'll be D-S-C-A-P-I-N-G. I'm going to pick my account group. Oops. I just did a filter. I don't want to filter that. Let's try it again here. All right, 1104-100. I was up here in the filter box. Wrong row. All right. And we'll put that in R&M. Not a tax account. All right, and I can save it. So now it's in there. And this one here, I need to get rid of this one. See, I started and didn't save it. And now I'm stuck. Let's make it. I'm just going to put a test one here, and I'll delete it. All right. All right, so now where's my new one? Here's my landscape irrigation. Open it up. Now I'm going to say this is a gross up account. And it's not one of our 7 standard ones, so we have to use the other. So no gross up there. This one we pick in percent adjust. Take percent adjust over here. Nope. Let's save my changes. And I got to put my in pool, so it's going to be in this pool, that pool, that pool. Yeah, it's controllable. Just in case there's a cap on some. Save them again. All right, now that's in there, all these pools it has this account, it's going to gross it up on a percent adjust method once I get to that screen. And I'm all set. So that's how it is to add a new expense account. And it's going to be in these in the R&M group over here. And now I can actually do expense pools too if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. Oops, cancel. I got to save my changes down here. Always tells you if you get that message, it means you haven't saved it. There's a couple pieces that saves it over here, and this also saves it in the big screen up here. So sometimes the save button, save change buttons is in 2 spots. Depends where you're saving data at, where you're making data changes at. All right, let's go back. Throughs. All right. Add the chart, attach expense pool, I added the gross ups. That one's done. Save my changes. Add new expense pool. Now, if I want to, I can add a new one. I can do this 2 ways. I can pick a new pool here. Here's the year. Number 7 is the next number in sequence. I give it my webinar test pool. We'll make it no gross up, make it 0. All right, now I got my new one here. Now I got to tell it which accounts are in here. So by default, they're all in here. So again, this would be every bit. I could take off the ones that aren't in. So say it didn't have cleaning, I could take off the cleaning. And I can save it. Or another way of doing this, I can actually do a copy function in the copy import. If I have a pool that's already just like this, my TV webinar, I can look at my 2020. It's a pool number 6. I can copy pool number 6 to 2020. And 6, make it pool number 8. There we have a 7 in there. So now it's going to make a duplicate copy in 2020. So I go back to my expense pool screen. Now, let's see, did I save it? I didn't save it. Let's try it again here. right, TV webinar. Let's see if we got it now. There it is. Now here's my pool number 8. So go back into here. Now I got 8 pools. I'm going to get rid of these since I don't really need them. And delete those. So there's 2 ways of doing it. You can set up from scratch with a new pool, or copy an existing pool to make a new one out of any of the ones that pre-exist. So let's go back to my walkthroughs. I can check off this one as being done. All right, next you have to do your occupancy numbers. You're going to gross up expenses. Again, if you're not grossing up, this doesn't matter. But it's nice to have the occupancy tables populated just for future reference. You know, again, this is going to be a budget, so it's not really going to be accurate because it's just a guess. Let's try it anyway. Let's show how I would do this. I go into here. So here's my 20. I go to 21. We already got the 20 stuff. And here's 200,000 a month. 200,000 here. Okay. Let's go to 21. I got nothing here. All right, occupancy details. Let's say it's 100,000 square foot. Let's just put in. I can do 2 ways. I can type in numbers one by one, or I can load it. This is actually something you can load from the an import, but probably easier for the budget. The average monthly lease space. Let's make it 85,000. I load this, and it's going to put them in there for me. So it populates. I don't care about. I want the average for the year. When doing the budget, individual months don't matter because again, this is going to be overwritten by real data once the year, 2021 has been finalized. So I'm just putting the average in there. I can go to my utility expenses, the same thing. I know my kilowatt hour usage. So say it was 190,000. Let's say 2,500. My cost was 210,000. And the reason gas would do the same thing. I'm not sure gas. Bill, what's a good number for gas? I never knew it. I've never actually grossed up gas in any of my buildings. What's a good number for therms? Any idea? Bill, you hear it? I can't hear you. If you're muted. Let's just put in 12,000. And total gas cost. Let's make this 25,000. Oops. No, it puts the numbers in here, populates it for me. There's my 25,000. Same every month. I don't really care. I'm trying to get this bottom line number. This is what we're looking for. This cost per therm and cost per kilowatt hour. That's the key factors that it uses for the gross ups. So again, that's a quick way of doing it for the budget. For the actuals, you want to put real numbers in here. Take your electric bills, put in your usage, put in your cost. Same with gas, put in usage and put in your cost. But for budgeting, this is the quick way of doing it because again, I don't care about the individual amounts. I want the grand total and the average for the year. All right, let me go back to my walkthroughs. So now we're done with that. Just save it. It's making our progress here. I did this already. All right. Now I go to my next one's going to be my total cost gross up screens. So let's look under. Let's do the first one. So no gross up there. So number 1 is number 2 is my first gross up one. Now this first left-hand column, this left-hand tab, this tells you which ones I'm grossing up. So I'm going to gross up. It looks like I've got accounts to gross up for cleaning, contract, cleaning supplies, elevator, electricity, elevator, gas, janitorial. No janitorial in this one. I'm not sure why, but it's not doing it. So let's go one by one here. So here, management fee 100%, gross up management fee per lease. My recalc.
Vicki Minyard.
Oh, Vicki made it. Can you see my screen now, Vicki?
I can. Bill walked me through it. We went in a different way.
Good. Wonderful.
The easier way is to use Chrome, everybody.
Oh, yeah, because Chrome is the one I use. Good idea, Bill. And our trouble is we don't have any expenses yet, so this is a little premature. I'm doing these my gross ups, but I don't have any expenses yet. So let's go to the next step. Let's skip this step. I'll go back to my walkthrough. And total cost gross ups. Let's do that in accounts. Percent adjust gross ups. Going to wait till I get numbers. CapEx jobs. Let's go to this one. So say I had another CapEx job. Here's what I got already. Some of these expire in the future. They're all in the future. Let's make a new job. So I click my new button up here. All right. And here it is, the new amortization. I click on the little edit icon. All right, let's make this a, here's my account number. I can go to any account. Say it was HVAC, I want to put it in my, say it was a chiller. This will be my chiller overhaul. And let's make this, $25,000. Again in 21, we'll do it over 3 years. We can impute interest. Let's put on, I don't know, let's put in 0.05. And no adjustment. That's it. Now I save it, update and recalc. Now down here, I got to tell it which pool is going to pay for this one. So I got to drop this down. We'll put on this one. We'll add it to number 1. Number 2 and number 3, yeah, that would be it. Number 4, nope, that's not a V, that wouldn't get it. Number 5, no electric, that's good. And number 6. So now all these ones are going to get this amortization, $8,900 in 2021 automatically, and that's going to continue onward for 2 more years until it burns off. So if our 5% interest gets us another almost $2,000 in recoveries. So it's a good idea if you have it. Bill always says you can pay for the program itself just by doing a couple jobs like this and imputing interest. Most leases allow it, but most people don't bother because it's sort of a pain in the butt to figure this stuff out. And of course, the interest rates today are so low, it's almost negligible. So my money market's paying like 0.7%, and that's actually pretty good these days. So,
but your lease will tell you typically, what kind of interest rate you can charge on it. Sometimes it's a specific number. Other times, it it says in quotes reasonable interest rate, or a
lot of times it's P+2 or LIBOR plus 2 or some number like that, which you can look up. So it's usually pretty much defined. It's not just whatever you want to do. It's usually pretty much defined how much you can put in and what table you use to make it. So it's a good idea. You can do it. Let me go back to my walkthroughs. That's done. So I'm going to copy this one's done.
Now, Larry, let me ask a question. Since you skipped over some things, does that mean that we should reorder some of these?
Well, maybe for this one, yeah, because again, if you put in total cost screens, we don't have expenses yet. And I'm going to load expenses down here.
So we can redo the list.
Yeah, I can move it up to here. I can do that actually today.
Yeah.
Tonight at home.
Good.
That's a good idea. Let me make a note here so don't forget. I got so many damn emails and sticky notes myself here. So move budget import above the gross up. All right. Actually, once you got your expenses loaded, new account, then you can do this anyway. So it's really, it could come right after here, really. It would probably make more sense. It's under expenses anyway, so it's just moving it up a little bit. All right, let's go to the next one. Now I'm going to import my expenses. So copy import. It'll bring me to the copy import screen. It's a expense, building expenses. My building is TV webinar. My year is 2021. Select the file. I've already got a file created. And it's, where's my budget? I'm working. All right, where to do it at? There it is. And once I pull that in, it's going to give me a little one message. It's going to give me a little preview. And here's my file. I'll show you. So it's easy to make. These are really a simple format. It's 2 columns. You need the account number with no dashes, no periods, no spaces. This is just the numbers themselves, and then the amount. And the first row's got to be the header row. It's got to be a header up here and a header here, and data down below. That's all it takes. So it's pretty simple to make these. It's not a difficult process once you have your budget from your mainframe system. Then once I get this looks good, and that's it. Looks fine. Initiate load, and it's very quick. In fact, Christy from Metro we're going to work. She tried to do this on her computer a couple days ago and it wouldn't work for her, but it worked for somebody else in their company. So we're going to look at it together. So what I got here? Select budget. I didn't get it here. Where's my expenses? All right. I think I missed something here. Let's try it again. Okay, one more try here. Ah, try something. Let me clear this out. Clear.
Larry, see if it went to the snapshot budget year.
Oh, I got the wrong year.
Yeah, there you go.
See, 20. This is my main year up here. Here's my budget. It's user error. I'm confusing myself. So here's 2020 because that's the current year. Here's 2021 my budget. So I was looking at 2022. That's why I didn't see anything over here. So here's my amount that I loaded up. And notice this is grayed out. We had some people in the wrong year. They were in the wrong tab. So the gray was the budget year, and the not grayed ones are in the current year. Again, this year here, that's actually this is actually the current year. Maybe we should put that, maybe change that to current year up here anyway. That's another good. If I confuse myself, I'm sure I confuse other people out there too. They would be confused on the same thing. So under building expenses, there's some Keith's going to have to do because this is a programming screen change, which I can't do. So we'll make this the select year. It would be current year.
Larry,
yeah.
Are you going to change that to 2021 now?
No, this is right. Current year is 2021. Here's my 2020 expenses. All right, current year. Here's my budget 21 expenses.
And are you going to change that to 2021?
No, up here we're going to change this to current year is 2020, which means budget year is 2021. Maybe put it even have a little display down below.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's why it does 2 years at a time. So we're looking at current year 20 and budget year 21. This is really the current year up here. So this is what I just loaded. Again, it is pretty quick. It only took a couple seconds. So that's another thing that's done. So let's go through here. Copy, import, check it off, save my changes.
So that's it for expenses. Except
right, now I can go back to my gross ups. Let's just do one of them. Now I have numbers in here now. See, now it populates because it brought in the numbers. So general contract, this is the numbers from the prior year. If this changed, I have to change it here too. So this is my cleaning contract rate per square foot per month. So I make this point, say it went up, and make it 0.96. I can save. What's good is once I change it here, it changes for the other gross up screens too for the same year. So all the other gross ups for cleaning would have the same amount. Cleaning supplies, this comes in automatically. It's just basically a formula in here. Electricity, as long as this thing didn't change, we're good. Normally you wouldn't change this factor. This is something Bill came up with a long time ago. A lot more defendable if you have a report from a professional engineer or even a utility company or your building engineer. But this should stay stable unless you add some energy saving equipment. And same with gas.
Keep in mind, if I could interrupt for just a second, if you could go back to the electricity tab there.
Let me put a number in here.
Yeah. Keep in mind, Larry's just making numbers up here on the electricity tab. 36. Would be you'd be
mighty high,
200%, right? I mean, the normal range for say a downtown building that is very efficient is probably going to be 18 to 20, and for a typical suburban building, all electric, it's going to be somewhere between 20 and 25 kWh per square foot per year. So there are other, less efficient, smaller rooftop type units that will get into the 30s, but
yeah, you don't see many of these. I've seen one or two, and not many.
Yeah,
that's way high. You're right. It's only because my numbers here don't make any sense. I just typed in numbers to make to populate the expenses. Gas, I think I wasn't using gas. It's probably no expense here, so it's not doing that. Elevator. This is only if you have an elevator contract that has a really vacant building. They shut off elevator banks, and your full contract would be X amount. If they shut off and give you a credit because it's not being fully used.
Yeah, sometimes there is an elevator credit for occupancy that's below a certain threshold. That's a negotiated number. Typically, used to be 75%. With what's going on with COVID these days, this may be something that you want to consider grossing up, elevators, this year, depending on how your contract is written. If anybody has an opinion about that, you're welcome to lob it out to the group.
And taxes, again, not many people gross up taxes, but some do. And then this is based on the valuation. So you get a letter from your tax consultant, and what you think would fully assessed value would be. You put in the current value and the fully assessed value per your consultant, and does a calculation for you. But most people don't do this. So once I do this one, the rest of them populate too. So I go back to my, like this one, where I made it 0.96. Now it's 0.96 here too. So once I change one of these, all these factors I change for the same field for the other grossed up expense pools.
So you're done with gross ups?
Yep. Well, I'm done with this one.
Right.
Like one more, I got my percent adjust. Whoops, I went back. Keep clicking the wrong arrow here. Done here. Save my changes. I go back to the. Remember, I added one more. I added that irrigation. So if I look at here's my irrigation one, 100% variable. Let's change this. Let's make it 50-50. So I'm going to 0.5. My ratio percentage always are decimals in the system here. Update. Trouble is I have no expense yet because this isn't something I just added this myself. Let's go back to billing expenses. And I'll add. Where's my R&M? Oops. 1140.
Building repairs, maybe? Yeah, R&M, you've got it down under the account groups header. There you go.
No, I don't see my irrigation one. When I add it here, let's go back.
Did it not show up?
Let's see. R&M.
There it is.
There it is. And then yeah, it's in the full. Should be okay. All right. Oh, I probably didn't add to 20. This is probably in 20. Got to add to 21. That's my problem. I can copy my chart in too. Let's do that. So I added it to 20. I didn't have the year change yet, so now it's not in 21. So I go back into here. I go back to my 2020. Here's my chart of accounts. Going to copy my 20 chart into my, oops, you need 21 over here. All right, now I go to my expenses. And
percent adjust.
It should work. Actually, let's see. I have to add my expense first. This wasn't in my load. It's something I just added myself. So where's my irrigation at? 20 in here. Yeah, there it is. 0. We didn't add it in here. This is number 2. Let's try this again here.
Anybody else getting dizzy?
Copy.
There you go.
TV webinar. TV webinar. Copy data.
Hey, Larry, it's 1:12.
Yeah, I know.
So another 5 minutes or so.
I have it here fine. If not, we're going to move onward. There it is. So let's put in 10,000. Save my changes. Now my snapshot. Now I've got a gross up here because I had it 50% gross up, 50% variable, 50% fixed. So now it did the gross up already for me, even though I'm not in the gross up screen. It actually does the calculation right here. All right, oops, wrong year. All right, one more try. So there it is. There's my $810.81 gross up based on 50% fixed. All right, that one's done. I think we're done with expenses. All right, next is going to be profile template. This is actually important. If your profile template's not set for the current year, it's going to be wrong. And you want 2020 is right because I'm doing 2021 prepayments based on the 20 profiles. So I'm saying my standard lease is going to be building diameter 100,000 square feet. It's combined tax and operating. It's a net lease. Most of them use expense pool number 2, gross up, 100% gross up. Most of them don't have caps. My standard maximum current allowed tax. This should be 999 here too. See, this is wrong. I didn't fix this one too. These maximums, these are basically unlimited. All right.
And the purpose of the limits, Larry, is?
Well, if you want to override and make them, let's say you want to bill somebody $10,000. So you say, okay, but 10,000 is the maximum liability, 10 is the minimum. You know, it doesn't matter what happens, they're going to bill them, $10,000.
I see.
So that's what this is for. And some leases actually have a minimum. We had some people that never pay. Well, some actually got credits. We had like a GSA lease and an IBM lease. They had base years. When the expenses went below the base, they got credits. It was negative escalations, which I've never seen before. In fact, the first guy that audited us, I missed that because I didn't believe it was even possible. So it does happen. So I saved my changes. Now I got a good template that'll work for 20 and 21 for my prospects too. So that one's done. Let's go back to my walkthroughs. All right, add new tenants prospect listing. Okay, so let's go into here. Let's make a prospect tenant. So tenant be prospect. No, never mind. Do it again here. Click my new tenant button first. And contact, CVD, address. See, right here means it's required. So I gotta have that. That's all I need, I guess. Save my changes. Now I got a prospect tenant. Now I'm going to my leases. Do a new lease. Let's make this prospect 01, starting on, say, 2/1/21. Oops. Ending on 12/31/25. Save my changes. All right, now I can do, once I got the new lease, I can click on this little icon here that gives me a new profile. It brings up that template I just made. Here's the template with my 999 and what I just saved in here. All right, combine, that's good, that's good, that's good. Say it's going to be, I don't know, square footage, say 2,500 square feet. Suite, I don't know, 1,200, 200A, how's that? It's a net lease, no caps. That's it. Now you see up in here, see this to and from dates? This is 2020 profile, and the date's 12/31/20, 12/31/20. That means it's really a next year one. So that's how I load a prospect. And again, load your new tenants too. So if you have a new tenants for for 20 and renewals, enter those in here. And renewals, you can do it two ways. You can enter a new renewal lease, or if they're just extending the end date, you can go in and change the end date. Go to your leases. All right, here I can click on any field here. Let's see who's ending. This guy's supposed to end in 19. So say they extended, I can go into here. I can make the say extend 3 more years, and no changes to the escalation terms. So now I got to go into 22. Where's my XYZ curve? Now it's 12/31/22, so he's not going to expire. That's an easier way if nothing changes. If something changes, you have to make up at least a new profile. But the leases you can extend farther on. And never delete your leases. Delete a lease here that's expired, like this guy from 16. That means delete everything related to that tenant, so you can't go back in time and redo the invoices. Something happened, you got audited. So I would never delete a tenant, never delete a lease. unless it wasn't necessary. You know, if you made a mistake, you didn't need it, fine. But if it's a real lease, just leave it out there. All right, so let's go back to my walkthrough. And we're done with prospects and renewals for end of budget year, did that. And release dates for prospective lease, did that. And the profile, did that. All right. Next one is update any placeholder accounts. So last year, oops, didn't bring me there. What happened? Oh, you know what? This is something I changed myself yesterday. I think I screwed it up. Let's try one more time. Nope. All right, let's go back the old way. Let's go to my profiles. I'll fix that tonight. Make a note.
Describe a profile, excuse me, a place card holder. That
I'll show you in a second here once I open it up. This is rent roll.
I mean, we don't need to go through it if it's a very
No. This is actually pretty critical too. This saves a lot of time.
Good.
Rent roll link. Here's out. All right, so I go into my profiles, and I've got for the 19. Here's my 19. I can even filter on this. It goes high to low or low to high. So here's all my here's a 19 base year. So let's open them up. Brownfield Mayerhofer. And again, this was done as a 19 lease. So we didn't when we did 19, we didn't know what this number was going to be. So we put in 7 nines as a placeholder. That's why down here we use 7 nines a lot of places as a placeholder number. Just if you don't know what it's going to be. Same with expense caps. If you don't know what the cap is going to be yet, until it gets determined, put in 7 nines as a placeholder. Now I got this. I want to put the real number for 19, the real base amount. And I go up here, load base amounts. I got a button that does that. Same with caps. I got a button that loads the caps. I click on this. It's going to go back and find the 2019 base amount for this tenant for pool number 2 and the 1643,724. That's a lot easier than trying to go back and calculate and find it and type it in yourself. It's a lot more accurate too than typing it in yourself. So that's a way to save you guys some time for the prior year. So now this is all set to go for 20. So I save my changes and go back to my walkthroughs. That was the only one I had, so I'm done there. I had one. All right. Now monthly, if you're not going to change prepayments on January 1st, hopefully everybody is, but again, some people just not possible. It means you have to do a back charge. So, go to rent roll. And if you're not going to change them on January 1st, it has to know what they're paying right now. So let's go to the Brownfield Mayerhofer one again here.
Does it make sense just to do one, or does
we do one here.
Yeah.
So I got a 3-month back charge. This is coming from the system settings. I'll show you in a second. So say they were paying $100 a month. I can type in $100 a month in here one by one, or just put in the current monthly premium 100. I'm going to need this eventually. So $1,200. My enter key is going to spread it across. But this is a key field. I need this number here for doing my back billing for the difference in the payments. So say April 1st, they're going to new prepayment, but for the first 3 it was wrong. So AOE takes new prepayment, wherever it calculates, subtracts $100, and multiplies that difference times 3 to get the back billing amount. And down here is what it's going to use for the next year's rec. And you can do this at the same time if it's you know what it is right now. It's already October, so you probably know what this number is going to be since you don't change them typically at year end. So you can put this in at the same time and you put in this in. Again, if you're not changing, you change January 1st, you don't really need this number. That's just more if you're not going to change them on time. And if you go to system settings, I'll show you where that is. This field here, months of back bill. I'm saying, okay, I'm going to change prepayments April 1st, 2021. So January, February, and March were different. Either too high or too low. And that's how it calculates 3 months as a back billing amount.
And that will apply across the board all the time.
Yep, that goes to every tenant. So that was done. Okay. Also, in the home stretch, check for errors. I got error checking up here. What this does, make sure you haven't missed anything. So click on this one, the first one, gross profiles and gross up issues. And here's one, my profile 677. And again, if I click on the edit, it's going to bring me that profile and see what's wrong. So here, 12/31/18, 12/31/18. That's okay. It was a 19 lease. Oh, see, it's 18. That's okay. Yeah, just the next year profile. This actually is okay because it's not. It's in 18. Lease started in 19. This actually tells it. So this actually is okay. So I can go back to where I came from. That one's all right. Leases, here's one missing. Here's my setup. Never actually. If I click on this too, it should bring it up. So, Amazon. What was that? KLW. So this one here, I'm supposed to set it up one of my tests and never set up a lease for it, a profile. So I can either delete it. It's up here. I think I made a copy of it as an example. I'm going to delete this one since I don't really need it, since they have no profile. Now they're gone. Now they go back and error checking again. Now it's gone. And this one here, gross up with errors. This is telling me, all right, I've got all these gross ups defined for these 2, 3, and 5 expense pools, 20 and 21. And these check marks here means I never filled out that piece. So I got it. It's supposed to be grossing up, it says, but there's no data. This tells me maybe I missed something. Maybe he's right. Maybe you don't have to gross this up. It just doesn't have a gross up for janitorial. But it's just telling you, hey, something might be wrong. It's more of a tickler file. Hey, your gas. I never did the gas because I had no gas expense. I should probably never put the gas gross up on this property since we're not using gas anyway. Same with elevator and taxes. I wasn't using these things, so I don't really need to gross them up. I can go back into my chart and uncheck those gross up amounts, and it won't gross them up anymore. This error goes away. All right, we're done with that. All right. And I want to run my report, so I would actually go in and do my reports. Go to AOE options.
We've got 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's all we need. Go to my budget reports, second tab here. And nobody set filter everything, just in case you miss something here. I'm going to refresh one more time just to make sure I stay on the screen. So I want this prepayment calculation summary by tenant profile suite. Most people want it by suite number. Most managers know it by suites. I can do it this way. These are all the same reports, just sorted 4 different ways. I don't have anything yet. Let's see here, 20, wrong years. This is actually 20. And budget year 21. So let's try it again. So here's my calculation. I'm going to get $968,000 in income next year, which is pretty good. Here's some big ones. Yeah, another report. So I give this owner, asset manager, senior management to review. This one here is pretty good too. This tells you the monthly amounts using for your budget. So here's my prepayments amounts, $69,000, and here's my month, January, February, March. Here's the ones that we're paying already, and the $100, and here's the new ones. So again, it's going to give you the amount to put in your budget by month. And then, what else we do? Once that gets approved, I go to my cover letters. If you're using this, it's nice. That's pretty handy, actually. So we got 2 cover letters. We got one for the budget and one for the actual. Let's look at the budget one. So I made different ones for different expense pools. Like my net of E is a little bit different because it says this for electricity. This one here, look at this one. Here's the one I use for the regular gross up one. So once this is set, you can copy between the different. You can type up one and save it. Save the text to a different expense pool, then modify it as necessary. Like here, I got a mistake. I got please. That's misspelled.
Larry, do you want to show how to copy and move?
Yeah. So see, I'm here. I copy the stuff, highlight everything, either right click and copy or the old Control C works.
Yep. Go
to one of the other ones and Control V to paste it. That's it. Thanks. So you copy in between. So there's 2 of them here. One for the prepayments, which you're using now, one for the reconciliation, which you do in the springtime. So we're done with that. And our last one is print reports. So again, now you want to do stuff for the tenants. So you go into the Invoice and Support tab. This is right, 2021 budget. That's good. I do my invoices first. Let's just take one tenant here. So we're going to take Brownfield. All right. So I got 2 leases. I get 2 invoices. Tells you how much we're going to pay for our prepayment next year. And again, here's our 3-month. I'm going to do. Oh, I did the invoice. I'm sorry, I did the wrong one. Just 20 invoice. I want the 21 prepayment. Down here. Down a group. So here's my 3-month back charge. I wasn't paying anything according to this one. And then I got my cover letter. Here's the cover letter. Here's the stuff I put in myself. The stuff here, stuff on top, prints off the tenant info, tenant name and address. This is prints off the.
That's automated. You're saying.
Automated. Same down here. This comes. It tells contact me in our office because that's in the system setup screen. Tells you who to contact and who's signed by Bill Brownfield, the general manager, is the signer. So again, this is all automated. Just the stuff in the center here is what you guys change. You can do it with or without a letterhead. We have one option, one with and one without. If you want to print on your own letterhead, or you want to go to, you can export to it's really RTF, but it's Word. Even though it says RTF on it. And then you can do 10 expense summaries. You can do here's cover letters, no footers.
Larry,
again, we got different options.
So for users who use Yardi or MRI, and they want to, say, download our expenses into Excel or whatever, and then upload it into their system, do you want to show them how to do that?
You mean the charges?
Yes, the tenant by tenant invoices, yeah. Or, yeah, cost.
Oh, here, we have the summary charge and credits, this one here. But first I got to change this to a display mode. Checking this off, normally goes to a PDF by default. When it's unchecked, now it's going to go to Word or Excel. Now I can do this thing. I can go to my charge and summary credits. I only got one tenant here. I picked Brownfield Mayerhofer. That's mine. Only shows the one. Now from here, oops, I didn't save my changes. Let me save this. Refresh. Once I do this, I got to refresh once. Now I do my summary. Now I see I got an option. I can save the PDF, XLSS, RTF. So I can give it XLSS normally. I would save it. And I would give this to my AR department to bill to the tenants. Here's my final amount due for last year, which isn't ready yet. This is the one I want, the new prepayment and the back charge.
And if you had picked all of the tenants,
yeah, normally you do it all. I just want to make it quicker because the more tenants they have, the slower it is, and this wouldn't take too long actually.
Yep, absolutely.
In fact, I'm going here.
You know, we're right at 1:30. Why don't we?
Yeah, see if we have any questions before we wrap it up here.
Sure. You can use the chat feature, or if you want to unmute, you can ask a question, whichever you prefer.
Hi, guys. This is Carrie. Before we get off the phone, I do want to have a discussion about what you guys think about grossing up this year due to
for COVID?
The COVID and the tenants not being in the buildings. They're empty, so our expenses are down.
Yep.
And say we've had savings on cleaning, but our leases, say that we gross up based on occupancy.
Well,
does that mean physical, or does that mean?
Well, it's physical. I mean, that's like here when we do our gross ups. We have two different occupancy numbers. We have one for leased, then we have leased not occupied. So this is basically the physical. So say you had only half the building occupied, I could put in 44,000 here. There's
a lot of discussion though this year about what's fair.
Now I got 44% as my physical. I mean, it seems like it's fair. That using it shouldn't be paying for it. But again,
that's Larry. That's not quite consistent with the conversation that we had with Brett, who is with Carrie's company as well. Okay, so what we concluded, Carrie, in our discussions with him, and this is probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Was bill it as you normally would and deal with the feedback. Okay, that was after a long discussion of different aspects associated with it. But the gist of it was treat 2020 like any other year.
Yeah, but then Bill, you're going to be way under grossing up if you're not using cleaning. You're not paying for it.
Well, you should gross it up. And,
well, I'm saying, but you can't gross it up based on leased because
Well,
even though they're leasing it, it's like dark space. It's like
well,
you know,
that's not a totally accurate assumption. One of the things that he mentioned to us is that with respect to his properties, and I assume that means maybe your properties as well, maybe not. You know, they made the decision, especially in areas where they had union contracts, to go ahead and pay janitorial on a normal basis, and they just assigned other duties to them, you know, to make sure that they got value for that money that was spent, and where the tenants benefited from it as well. You might want to chat with.
Yeah, we did the same thing, Carrie. Hey, it's Noel. We kept our janitorial companies working, and we kept paying them, but they were not obviously having to empty trash, vacuum every night for empty dark spaces. But we're hitting hot spots, and we're trying to keep common areas and restrooms and everything, you know, very well sanitized throughout the week. So we kept them employed.
I bet you guys spent a lot of extra on sanitation.
Larry, part of the rationale on that was that, you know, explaining to the tenants that questioned, was that to recreate that staff, to retrain that staff, you know, after COVID was under control, you know, would be much more expensive, and you know, you end up losing the specialization and special skill sets that a lot of those people had, especially familiarity with specific buildings.
Right. Well, I agree. If you're paying a full contract, you got to gross up based on like they were there. But again, if you weren't paying it, if you're probably paying half your contract because they weren't cleaning half the building, that's a different story. That's what I'm talking about here. If it was really was dark, like I'm in my office right now. I work like 3 days a week in the office, but there's probably out of 75 people here, if we have 15, that's a big day. For today, there's probably 10 people in the office. So they still come in to clean, but again, it's pretty minimal, but I think they're probably paying the full cleaning staff like you mentioned.
Right.
Yeah, and we've had some tenants that say they're not coming back until maybe January.
Oh,
so
yeah, I got a lot of friends that are not coming back. Yeah. Even then, it's up in the air. Depends how, you know, they get a vaccine.
Well, that carries you through 2020. You know, that's you just need a bridge, you know, to getting beyond COVID.
I know people spent a lot less this year, like on CapEx and stuff. That's really been, you know, shelved for most of 2020. We haven't spent anything here, so it's there's some savings too on other expenses. You have more on sanitation, you know, and sterilization and stuff, but you get less on other normal repairs you probably wouldn't do because there's no one in the building. So and rents are down. You know, we have people ask for rent relief and. You know,
no, we've actually done a lot of capital projects because the building's empty.
Oh, yeah?
It's easier to do them. It's easier to do them when
we're the same way, Carrie. Exactly. Yeah. Let's get stuff knocked out while nobody's here.
Yep.
That's right.
All right, I stand corrected.
That's a property manager speaking, not an accountant. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working for a mall company. You know, they're different than an office. Way different. Unfortunately, they're much more complicated. Their CAM is unbelievable. Stuff they do here is crazy. So,
you know, that raises an interesting point to make about AOE. You know, we've always marketed it directly for office, but it's also equally good for industrial properties because the lease structures are very similar to office. And AOE can also be used for a portion of the retail community out there, specifically strip malls, because as opposed to, not malls, but retail centers, retail strip centers, because their lease structures are very similar to office too, triple net or base year. And so if you have other properties like that in your portfolios, you might consider AOE for that too.
Yeah, we added that capability about a year ago for a new client we picked up, and he had some retail and some office. And we had, it doesn't work for like the big regional malls. You have big anchor tenants, it's not going to work. But if you have a small strip center, it works fine actually for that too. We had a couple of new features that make it work. So,
well, the one hitch in those types of leases, retail strip center leases, is an admin fee, and that's the feature that Larry was just referring to that was added. So. Do we have other operating expense questions or AOE questions? We can also, as part of your support that you pay for every year, call us with specific questions. We'll be very happy to help you with individual issues as they come up as well. So we're very happy to jump in and help you solve issues as they come up.
All right, that it?
If there are no other questions, we'll wrap it up. As mentioned before, we will go ahead and post the recording on this within just a couple of days, and please stay in touch. Good luck with your 2021 pre-bills, everybody, and thank you very much.
Is Larry
for
still online?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Larry, I think Vicky's still on with us. Do we want to go ahead and go over where I was having the issue with being able to import?
Yeah, let's just stay on afterwards. I'll
Okay.
look at yours. I'll make you
Okay, I
understand
just
so I
wanted
can.
to double check.
You might wrap up the recording.
Yeah,
Larry.
I'm going to stop the recording now. So
Yeah,
thank you.
There you go. All right.
Talk to you guys in the
Sure.
fall, or in the spring, I guess, and actually before then, I'm sure. I
Thanks,
have
guys.
calls.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.